right, we are live. So good evening, everybody. And it's not yet 6 o'clock yet, 7 o'clock. In which way? I think it is actually. So let's just wait a little bit until it is 6 o'clock on the dot. But it's such a pleasure to actually have you here. But it's I think we should copy the link and share on our social media platforms before um so that people can know that we are live and they can join us.
Okay.
But as we are doing that, I would actually love to welcome everybody in this program. Thank you for making our time to join us here. Thank you especially to our speakers. Our second speaker is on her way. She will join us soon. She's a mother and so she has to take care of the family and all of those things. So we give her the benefit of the doubt. But while we are here, I would like to introduce myself and the other speakers will also introduce themselves. My name is she's here. Please let me quickly add her up.
Hello.
Okay, yes, our third speaker is here. It's so good and lovely to have you. So I was about introducing myself so that other speakers will also introduce themselves. We're already live and once again, you're welcome. My name is Mfoni Sudo and I am a Commonwealth Scholarship Awardee for 2022. I'm currently studying Big Data and Digital Futures at the University of Warwick. Yeah, so please, can you tell me about yourself, a little bit about yourself, and what actually motivated you to apply for this scholarship? We already have people waiting. Thank you.
Okay. Gabriel, let's start from you.
No, I'll go with ladies first.
Okay. So my name is Chidima Kaniro. I'm studying public policy at Cambridge, a Commonwealth shared scholar. Before here, I used to work with the US government with the Commercial Service Division, basically helping facilitate trade between US and Nigeria in several sectors. Currently, I'm studying public policy and my focus is on international trade.
That's a good one.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Yeah, my name is Gabriel Usili Ibino. I'm a Commonwealth Shared Scholar in Durham University. I'm studying MSc Risk. Before now, I worked with Zenith Bank PLC as a teller. In the banking sector, we kind of deal with risks every day, financial risk. Though I studied geography and regional planning at my undergraduate level, this program for me, MSc risk, is more like an environmental risk. So while I studied geography in form of environment, in with respect to the environment, I worked in a company that is into risk in the financial sector. So I worked in a company that is into risk in the financial. Okay, sorry, I was hearing myself. So what really motivated me to go into studying risk was that over time I've come to realize that we face a lot of challenges with respect to environmental hazards, and chief among them was flooding. So I had one or two stories in the course of the section. I will let you know why I decided to study risk, but I'll leave it there so that we can start properly.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Um, I'm trying to share it on the social media platform so that other people can join us so that they can know that we are live. So basically, the Commonwealth State Scholarship covers a lot of essays, and so many people are scared of writing essays. I don't know if I'm the only person they keep coming to my DM and complain that the essays are too much. How do you expect me to write 13 essays? I don't even have the time. I have a full-time job. But I want to tell everybody here that all of us who had a full-time job when we were applying for this scholarship, and because we did it, you to also have the opportunity to actually do it. So we're going to start with the first and most important essay, which is the developmental impact essays. And we'll start with the development impact essay one. I don't know if there's any question, but I would like to read the question from my end so that we can start appropriately. So the
Sorry,
first
before
question
you continue,
actually
I
talks
would
about
just suggest for the speakers, when someone is not speaking, it's best to mute so there's no
okay,
interference in someone else's
okay,
yeah, because
okay,
it's echoing. Thank you.
okay. That's fine. All right. Okay, so I was about reading the development impact essay. So the development impact AC1 question goes by how your proposed study relates to development issues at the global, national, and local level. B, development issues connected to your chosen CSC team and the wider sector, and it is 200 words. So the question is already divided into two. How do you expect prospective scholar to write this kind of AC under 200 words, and how do they best approach the question? So, ladies first, please, Chidima, take the lead. Thank you, ma'am. I think you're muted. We cannot hear you.
I think the first thing for me would be to ensure that you have a good understanding of the question, um, and also go through the CSC themes and see which of the themes aligns to what you have been doing, or which of the themes align to what you're looking to do. I think a way to also look at it would also be, before even deciding on what you want to write on, you already know the school you're applying to and all. If you check through the courses, each of the courses is under specific themes. So if you know the theme of the course you're applying for, at least you know what your theme is. Because whatever CSC theme you're working on, you have to use that theme for the first question. You're not going to write on a completely different theme for the first one and come and write on a completely different thing for the second one. So in a way, I think that the second one should come first when you're trying to frame your thoughts. Just ensure that you research appropriately and see under what theme the course you're applying for falls under for the school that you're applying for. And then next thing is, it's easy to get carried away when writing and then forget to address all the parts. So what I do is, before I start to write, I make sure to take note of all of the key parts, all of the key points to be addressed. And then I don't let the word limit constrain me. Okay, in the first draft, just write as much as you want, ensuring that you address all of the key points. Just let it flow, write. Only when you're done writing would you start thinking about the word limits, trying to edit it down. Okay, because if you let the word limit constrain you while writing, you may not be as creative as you should. So I would think that the first things first, ensure you get the appropriate theme. Under what theme is the course you're applying for and the school you're applying for. And then ensure that whatever response you're giving addresses each of the things, each of the things, globally, nationally, locally. It will also be good if you maybe have a few statistics from UK and maybe US, and your country of origin rather, related to that. For instance, in my own essay, my focus was on international trade. So I found, UK trade numbers with Nigeria, how it had progressed over the years, how it can possibly be improved, and what impact that will have on the wider economy in both countries. So basically, if you can also find things that will relate to whatever developmental theme you choose for UK and your country of origin, that would also be helpful.
Thank you very much for that. There's a question I want to ask concerning what you just said, which is about the CSC team. So people are asking, can I actually choose different teams? Do you think it's appropriate to choose different teams, or should they focus on one team? How should they go about it if they're choosing more than one team?
So how this works is, it's not a case of, oh, just pick one theme out of the blue. How the shared scholarship works is, there are very few schools that participate in the shared. There are a list of schools, let me not say very few schools, there are a number of schools that participate. Now, for the shared scholarships, each of the schools, depending on the course that they are offering, different courses fall under different themes. So beforehand, you would already know the school you're looking to apply to, okay, and or what course is it. So if you check what course you're doing, you check under the CSC themes. There are 6 themes. Under these themes, which of the themes is your score, is your course under. So it's not necessarily about speaking. You cannot go and start speaking about a theme that has nothing to do with your course, because remember that you are applying for a shared scholarship, that and in your scholarship, in your form, you have to select what school, what theme.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have to ensure that whatever theme you're choosing corresponds to the theme that your course falls under.
Okay. That's correct. Okay, thank you very much. Gabriel, please, over to you. Do you give us how do we approach this development impact essay one? Because that is the first essay your members are going to see. How do we best approach this essay from your angle? Thank you.
Said a very good, has made a very vital point. I will just add to what she said, because I will not want to start repeating everything. But I have some, some principles that
Okay.
I do give to people, and which is, you want to write an essay that that addresses development impact. The number one thing you should do is that essay, does it really address the question that is asked of you? Does it really address it? If what you have written does not address it, then all what you've written is wrong. As in, it's not like wrong per se, but you've just missed the point. It's like what we call in Nigeria that we say you have just written OP, out of point. Your essay is good, but it was out of what point? Did they really develop address any issue at your local level? When I mean local level, like your community level. Take for instance, myself, I'm studying risk. I want to I want to study MSc risk. What does MSc risk? What does the knowledge that MSc risk give to me? With what I cannot apply it to the challenges I was facing in Nigeria, in my community, that is bedeviled with incessant flood. So if I'm to write an essay that I want to study risk, CSC wants to know that this course actually addresses this problem or problems, as the case may be. So this is number one thing you should do. That is, I'll just talk about the relevance. 2, your essay, is it logical? Somebody reading it, is it logical to hear, as in to the person reading or the panel reading your essay? You can't say that you want to study something and what you've just put out there is not logical. That, as in, I want to address flooding, and I'm going to study big data, like Infoniso. That means it is like a continuum, two ends of a continuum. It doesn't meet. It is parallel.
Yeah.
So I want to address flooding, I should be looking at things that is addresses hazard, environmental hazard, and the likes. My friend Chidima said that she works with the United States government, and now she's going into what public policy. You could see that there's a reason why you are doing what you are doing. So those essays that you want to do, it must address those the local, national, and regional issues. Then I always tell people, be original. If you want to write an essay that addresses anything in CSE, you have to be original. People have always, be tempted to what? Go to previous scholars or past scholars to say, that your essay you have written to CSE. Can you just give me? Let me to do mine. And you find out that instead of them to be original with their essays, they end up doing what they call what? Copy and paste.
And that doesn't get them anywhere.
It doesn't get them anywhere. So I want to say that things should, as in the essay that you are writing, should come from within, should come from inside. It should be inborn. So what I'm saying in essence is this: be original, because it is only when you are original in your essay that you can actually flow. The insight will come. It will tell that these people, this CSE, I always try to tell people that these people are psychologists. Why is this person applying for this? Why is this person writing what he or she has written? Is this person really original with what he's saying? They could see that behind your write-up, they could see your pain that you're feeling and everything. So what? Be original. Another thing I want to say is this, that you should what? Have a clarity of expression. Be clear. Be clear. In whatever you're written, everything you've written should be clear. It should not be ambiguous. I should not be reading your essay and be thinking, what did this guy really mean? What does it mean? I should not be cracking my head to think that, okay, let me assume that this is what he's saying. We should not be, approaching an essay with the assumption that people will understand what we have written. It should be clear to everybody reading it. And also, I always want to say that your essay should not be disjointed. It should not be disjointed in the sense that there should be a flow. I think Chidima mentioned that it should flow from one point of thinking to the other. If you want to say developmental issues, if I study this is what I want to do in the next 5 years, or this is what I want to do in the next 2-3 years. That is what there's a flow. I have experienced this. I'm coming to study this, and with this knowledge, I'm going to achieve this. CSC likes to hear this kind of things. So what there should be what flow of statement. Then lastly, but not the least, I will say that what everything you are going to quote, everything that you're going to say in your essay, there should be what evidence. Evidence in the sense that in Japan, this is what they have done to address volcano, or this is what they have done to address what an earthquake.
Yeah.
The reason why I want to do this is because I have discovered that in Nigeria or in South Africa or in Ghana or whatever country you are coming from, in this it is not practical. It is not done in my country. So this is why I have decided to study this, because I have read in developed part of the world that this is what they have been doing, and they have been able to record so many sources, achieve many sources over the years. But I have decided to do this because I want to borrow this idea. I want to borrow this knowledge, or I want to use this knowledge that have been done in other parts of the world to solve an environmental issues in my own place, or to solve a social issue in my place, or whatever issues in my place as the case may be. So I feel with respect to essays, in addition to what Chidima have said, this is what you should put at the back of your mind when you're writing an essay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think one point I just want to add when you are writing your development impact essay number one is actually to bring in statistics. It's called development impact for a reason. What is the impact there? Impact is when you measure the number of impacts it has impacted on the people in the community. Remember that the essay says development impact at your local level and development impact at the national level. How do you measure the impact? It is by numbers. So you have to bring in statistics when you are writing your development impact essay number one. That is how they actually know that this impact is really impactful. And that's how they know that it is actually less impactful. So regardless of what you're writing, when you're writing your first development impact, ensure that there is accurate statistics, and please reference the body in which you are taking the statistics from. It's very, very important that you do that. So I think that question number one has actually been every part of it has been touched. I think, yeah, very important. That number one essay is when you introduce your CSC team, because that is where you introduce your CSC team. Which of the CSC team are you referring to? Where can we find this problem in the CSC team? That's how they know that you are not writing the essay out of the 6 CSC teams. So that first essay is very important. Those are the very important, crucial things that must be there in the development impact essay number one. All right. So we'll go to the development impact essay number two. And the question says, how do you intend to apply your new skills and qualification when you return home? And it's just 100 words. Please, how do we approach that essay?
Well, 100 words is very short, actually. I would assume that anybody who is applying to go and do a program, you already have an idea of what you want to do. 100 words it's barely a paragraph. So ensure that you hit the points straight. Don't talk around and end up not giving the core points. first of all, ensure that you mention your new skill. That is the specific skills that you acquire. Be very specific to mention the skills. Ensure that, don't just be like, oh, when I come back, I will work. I will work anywhere, or I'll work here. I'll work here. Mention a name of a specific place, one or two. Even if you're unsure, even if you end up not working there, it's fine. Nobody is going to hold you on your neck and say, because you called this place, you must go and work there. No. But it helps to show that you have clarity of vision. Okay, if you
Yeah,
have an idea of where you can apply those skills when you come back.
that's correct.
Um, Again, ensure that you reference. You talk about when you come back. When you come back, don't go and say, after my program, I'm going to go and do this work in this UK company. No, I mean, I'm not trying to tell you what to say or what not to say. But the goal of the Commonwealth Scholarship is they are trying to empower Commonwealth nationals to go home after the program and develop their country. So the goal is for something that you're going to do in your home country to develop it. Have that in mind. So I would say that first, be sure you mention the specific skills. Be sure that you measure that you mention rather the place where you're going to implement this, where you want to work, and if there are any specific goals or objectives that you intend to accomplish there
Yeah.
while doing this work, ensure you mention them as well. It's a very short question.
Yes, that's very correct. To make what she just said very bold is, see that part she says, don't go and say you want to work in a UK company. It's very important. Very important is your essay by saying upon my return to Nigeria. This is a tip that is very important. When you return to Nigeria, in my return, shall just mention that upon your return, let it be that upon your return to your country, this is what you're going to. That's the best way to approach that essay before you start mentioning the things too. All right, I'll give the platform to Gabriel, please.
Okay, just to add to what my colleagues have said, I just want to say that it's a short essay, to be honest, and you really don't have much things to, write there. One advice I always tell people is this: you should state in your essay that you're going to be registered with a professional body. Um, Take for instance, Foniso, you are into big data and analysis, and I don't really know your course, but you want to tell the CSC that when I come back to Nigeria or upon my return to Nigeria, I look forward to joining the National Bureau of Statistics. Or you want to tell them, you want to tell them that you have to make them see the reason why they should offer you this scholarship. I, for one, I said that, if I or when I return, I don't use if is a probability now.
Yeah,
When I return to Nigeria, is I'm going to register with the national environmental body of my country. National environmental body that is into environmental hazard of my country, because I feel with the skills I've learned, I should be able to make an impact there. This is what they want to hear. You want to register with a professional body, or if you are into lecturing, you can tell them that I'm going back to my university to impart knowledge, in your undergraduate students and the likes. So that is just what I want to add to it. And you should know that you have clarity of vision. Thank you.
yeah, I think also from what Gabriel just said, I think prior before I came to the UK, I think I registered with so many professional bodies. Like I'm already a member of Data Science Society of Nigeria and other things. So what he's actually trying to say is that if you are not already a member, tell them that you actually want to join a forum that is very strategic, that will impact in your community. If you're already part of the member, you can also mention that you're already a member, and when you come back, this is what you're actually going to do to further ensure that the impact that you do in your community gets into a further route. Basically, that's how to approach the essay. What do you intend to do when you come back? It's not really a career plan, it's like a bit of it. So I think since that question is answered, I would actually love to go to the third question, which people really find it very, very intriguing. First of all, the third question
Sorry,
250.
Gabriel, can you mute?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the third question is on 250 words and is sectionalized into three important sections. The question says, what you expect will change in development terms following your studies, including A, the outcomes that you aim to achieve, B, the time frame for their implementation, and C, who the beneficiaries would be. Please, Chidima, how did you approach this question? Did you
Okay.
outline it A, B, C, D? How did you actually approach that question? Because it's really a big deal for a lot of people that have met me and they ask, how do you actually write this AC? Especially
Yeah.
when it has to do who are the people you actually want to impact. Do I start naming the names of the people and the community? How do you approach this question?
So I think you can look at it from different perspectives, but how I chose to approach this was first I segmented my answer into four sections.
Okay.
Um, First, what would you expect to change in development terms following your studies?
Yeah.
I first gave an overview of what I expect to change, just like a short summary of what change I'm expecting, and then the next part said what outcome you hope to achieve. And
Yeah.
now I specifically listed outcomes. Okay, so outcome A, I mentioned the outcome and I elaborated on it. Outcome B, I mentioned the outcome and then I elaborated on it like that. Okay, I
Okay.
had three outcomes, and then the time frame for the implementation. I gave a time frame for each outcome, and then I gave a general time frame where I hope to have implemented or achieved, you know, my stated objectives. Who would the beneficiaries be? Um, when they ask would, you don't necessarily have to start naming, oh, this person or that person. If you already know specific communities that will benefit from that, it's fine to say, oh, XYZ community and similar communities. Because the fact that it's targeted at this community does not mean that you will not replicate it in other places.
Okay, for example,
Okay.
I'm sorry to cut you short. For now,
Okay.
currently there is flooding problem in Nigeria. Would
Okay.
it be fair if I'm actually writing the development impact essay number three and I mention Niger Delta since that is where the flood is concentrated? Can I do that if I'm writing the
Okay.
essay?
So if you're in that sort of essay, you can mention um, the beneficiary. Your work is based on this flood control. The beneficiaries will be flood prone areas such as, you can now mention Niger Delta region. You can mention another region. If you will specifically be working in Niger Delta, you
Yeah.
can mention that region, and you now say and you know communities within that are worst hit. But most importantly, your work, if it's a great project that you're looking to do, Niger Delta is not the only fraud prone place. Okay, so if that thing you're doing is successful, nothing stops it from being replicated, across other
Cross board.
places that
Yes, that's
exactly.
correct.
So even if you say, why my projects will be immediately targeted at Niger Delta region, you know,
Yeah.
in the long term, I hope to work with the maybe Nigerian Emergency Management NEMA. I don't know the full meaning, but the NEMA that do the flood control,
Yeah.
the emergency
Something
in
agency.
exactly
Yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah.
long run. In the long run, I would want to work with so that this thing can be replicated on a national scale. So don't limit your thinking. Don't think small. The fact that you're going to immediately work in the Niger Delta does not mean that it would only happen in the Niger Delta. So be careful not to limit your responses as well.
Okay. Yeah, that was really thoughtful. Just to add to what she said, I mentioned Niger Delta because the flood is really prone in the Niger Delta. There was also flooding in Lokoja, and Lokoja is not in the Niger Delta. So, from what she just stated now, you can replicate it on national scale, something like that. So, Gabriel, please, the floor is yours. How do we approach this question number three?
Okay, thank you very much. I would say that you have to you have to look at it from two ways.
Okay.
In the sense that You want to be sure that whatever you are going to do will affect lives. That is why CSE gave you a free scholarship to go and study. It should affect lives. And ordinarily, you can decide to do what from little to the whole, or from whole to the little. Whichever one that pleases you is fine. I will explain. Your development impact will this start from your immediate community,
Okay.
then you increase it to the national level, or you want to start it from the national level and bring it down to what your community, whichever one that is fine by you, it is your choice. But
That's right.
I want to say in my own case, I want to say that it is always good. It is always good to approach it what from the little to the whole, because development should start what from where you stay. People should see, as in when you get a knowledge or when you get a skill, it should people in your community should be affected first. Then you push it. The impact cannot what get to the larger community. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying in essence is this. What I'm saying in essence is this. If you are studying, let's say you are studying, you are studying anything that has to do with the girl child. I think there's
Gender
a
development. Yeah.
development, study like that. You want to be saying that, okay, I'm going to create an NGO in my community. I want to create an NGO in my community, probably a partner my, the local, traditional ruler in my community, and make them see that the girl child is not a secondary child. It is not it's not a lesser child than the boy child. So create an NGO, and you tell them that you hope that with this NGO, in the next 2-3 years, you are hoping that you can meet with the governor or something like that to partner with them in the Ministry of Women Affairs, to partner with them, and extend this message to the larger community. Also, if you are into environmental studies, that have to do with risks, my colleagues have been talking about flooding, whatever environmental hazard you have.
Yeah.
You can tell them that what you want to create, a risk assessment method or risk assessment methodology. A risk assessment methodology in the sense that you want to measure risk and see that what is the essence of creating this risk assessment methodology to reduce what risk, and which affects life and properties. So if you are creating a risk assessment methodology rather, you are telling them that, okay, what you hope to achieve is that between now and 5 years, the result you are planning to get is a lesser hazard occurrence than what used to be 5 years prior before you got this knowledge. Are you getting me now? Then you have to be careful. You have to be careful with, I used to call it, you have to be careful with overzealousness. Like you don't want to be such too overzealous, like I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. The question now arises, how? Because it's not a matter of just saying I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. You have to be careful with how. I always want to tell people that what you should do is you take this approach a little to the left, a little to the right. What do I mean? I mean, once you are telling them that, okay, I want to partner with the government, I want to partner with the government, I want to partner with the government, we have to notice something, that government issues is political. Everybody knows government issues is political. So you have to tell them that, okay, should this one fail, I will go this other way. That shows that you have thought it wise. You have thought it over time. That, okay, it's not as if maybe when I present it to the state government, they reject it. So that marks the end of my development in my community. That shows that you are not. That means
You've not
this one
started work yet.
they just wasted money on your head. As in you that marks the end. So what thing you should do, you can tell them that, okay, you have looked into the sector. I don't know whether there are any other people, any other nationalities in this meeting. Is it only Nigerians or?
No, not Nigeria. We have Uganda. We have other nationalities. It's not just Nigerian. But
Okay, good. So what thing you should do, you should tell them that, okay, as much as I would like to partner with the government for this, this issue that is arising or that has arose in my country, I have this idea that should that not work, I want to partner with multinationals. Everybody knows that multinationals have what they call CSR, corporate social responsibilities. You're going to tell them that you are going to write a proposal to them and make them see the reason why they should partner with you. You have to let them know that, okay, let's say for instance, Dangote refinery or something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that refineries have a way of, causing some, environmental issues, the oil
Impact.
spillage and the
Yeah,
likes.
lots of them.
Lot of them. So you know this issue, and I'm now looking at the Niger data. You can tell the you can tell Commonwealth scholarship that you are going to partner with some multinationals and partner with them in the form of CSR. That okay, whatever they are going to do, whatever you are going to propose is going to affect the lives of people that have been affected by what oil spillage. They look at it. What causes oil spillage? The refinery. Of course, it's a way of what giving back to the
Community.
society,
Yes.
community. So you see that there's an analogy. There's what a flow. You're going to partner with private sector. You're going to partner with the the government sector. Also, not just limit yourself to just national. There are also international communities out there. Take for instance, United Nations Environmental Program (UNEP). If you are into environment, UNICEF. If you are into children, UNICEF. If you are into children, so you're going to tell them that okay, I'm going to partner with these people. Going to
Even
write proposal.
UNESCO, if you are into climate change.
UNESCO, yeah. Then World Health Organization, if you are into health.
That's correct.
These are the things that Commonwealth likes to hear. As in, they want to hear these things from you. They don't want the situation where you are not even looking at a bigger picture. So I think that's in addition to what you guys have said, that is how to approach these things.
That is very important. Like it was very holistic because I can remember how I approached my question. I was very detailed in who my beneficiaries would be, and I knew that my beneficiaries touch students, it touch entrepreneurs, and also touch the government. And the question start with what. Now, whenever a question start with what, when, and how, it means that you are not just telling, you are showing how you're actually going to do this. And with what Gabriel just explained and what Chima said, it's actually how are you actually going to do it? What are you actually going to do? And the time frame is very important. Now, this question is very important because when they mention time frame in the question, people ask, so if I add time frame here, what would I do in career plan? Because it's not how you write career plan with that time frame. How do you put all of these factors together? I believe that it has been very exploratory and very explanatory. Actually, how to answer this question number 3 is very important that you put all this into consideration.
Sorry, Gabriel,
Right.
please mute.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, when you're writing this question number 3, with that I think we can move to question number 4. We already have lots of question here, but I wouldn't actually want to go to the comment section and ask and pick the question because I want us to finish the development impact aces, the 4 of them, because this is the heart of Commonwealth shared scholarship. If you cannot answer the development impact essay the way it should be addressed, nobody's going to look at your career plan. Nobody's going to look at your study objective and your proposal. So that is why we are taking time to ensure that we deal with this development impact essays so that you know the best way and the best approach to answer this question. We don't want to rush it simply because we are here. This video will be uploaded on the YouTube channel afterwards so that people that are not able to join or people that are having network issue can come and rewatch it. And if they have question, of course, I will always be here to attend to those questions. So without further ado, I will read question number 4. And the question number 4 says, how the impact of your work could be best measured. Okay, I like underlining this could. They didn't say would. It could be best measured. And it's just 100 words. Please, Chidima, please kindly answer that question. How would the impact of your work be best measured?
Thank you. Before I respond, I just want to reiterate something.
Okay.
I don't think we're here to tell you what to do, in the sense that everybody's life is different. Everybody's experiences are very different and unique. Okay? In as much as this is what, to the best of our knowledge, has worked for us, you may not necessarily need to go the same path. You may have very different and unique experiences. I think the most important thing, like Gabriel mentioned initially, is to be original. Tell your story and own your story, okay? You may end up, not having to do all of this or partner with any of this sort of organizations, and that's fine. If all you're doing is maybe sensitizing people, writing and all, it's, maybe some sort of information sharing, that's still fine. So don't feel like if you're not in the, don't feel like you have to set up an NGO per se, or that you absolutely have to take it this direction. No, the goal is not to tell you how to run your life, but just to give you an example of what has worked for others, and then you can fine tune that into your own peculiar situation. Okay, to respond to the question on how the impact of the work could be best measured, this is
Okay,
just
I'm sorry,
100
Chidima.
words.
A comment says you could speak louder a little bit, that they're struggling to hear you.
Oh,
Kindly.
I'm so sorry about that. Is this better?
Okay, I think it should be better. I can
Okay,
hear you.
okay. So the question how the impact of your work can be best measured, the response is very short, just 100 words.
That's
So
correct.
how I responded to this was, if you remember in the previous question, they asked what is the outcome that you hope to accomplish. So what I did was, I had three outcomes in my previous question, in my previous response. So for each of the outcomes, I put a way of measurement, because the different things you're looking to accomplish may not necessarily be measured in one way. Okay, so for instance, that one of my let's assume that one of my outcomes from the previous one was increased transparency in policy development and implementation. Okay, then measurement may be, if I'm increasing transparency, how have people been able to access something that they were not previously able to access? What are the new access routes? How many more people have been able to access it on XYZ platforms? If, for instance, one of my outcomes is to remove trade barriers, what significant trade barriers have been removed? What evidence-based research has been conducted, to help this be removed? So I had specific um, impact measurements for each of the outcomes from my previous response. That's how I approach this.
Okay, talking about that, because how I measured my impact was quite similar but also a bit different. Where I quoted my problem statement from, there was National Bureau of Statistics. I referred to them as part of the people that will measure my impacts.
Yeah,
So I think that's a very important factor that you should look at. Wherever
yeah,
you quoted your problem statement from in your development impact essay number one, there could also be a body that could also measure your impact by virtue of
yeah,
what you have done. So, Gabriel,
yeah.
please answer the
Sorry,
question.
sorry, just to add, they can also be short-term measurements
Yeah,
and long-term measurements.
exactly.
Okay, so you can have measurements in the short term. Short term is typically 1 year, which is 12 months, and then you can have longer term measurements. So that's also helpful.
Yeah, very.
Uh, I'm just smiling because so I think you took the word out of my mouth.
I
I
think it's
think
okay.
when you just mentioned the Federal Bureau of Statistics, I just laughed. I said, "Man, this guy just took this word out of my mouth." That
Okay.
is the primary. All I start to be corrected anyway. I
Yes,
think
sir.
that is the primary source or primary angle you should look at when you want to measure. Sources. You want to measure when it has to do with development impact. There are bodies that are into that. There are bodies that have been releasing data over time. You hear people, if you are going in for an economics course, you hear people talking about inflation rates and the likes and the likes. Inflation rate in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and what have you. These are what bodies that have their data out there. All you just need to tell them is that, okay, after I've implemented one or two things in my community, in my state, in my country, or something like that, I wish that the comparative, I will do a comparative analysis
Yeah.
of what I have implemented, and I hope that the success rate will bring about a reduction of this particular problem. Because that's the reason why you are creating something. You want to solve a problem, you want to solve an issue.
That's
So
correct.
you just tell them that what I'm sure that whatever I've done or whatever I'm going to do will bring about a reduction. What if you're into a girl child now? You can tell them that I'm sure that in the next in the next 12 months, I'm sure that the girl child that is going to be enrolled in primary schools, secondary schools, is going to be increased compared to what we have before. If you are into what risk assessment, you can tell them that okay, I am sure that the rate at which we are able to what foretell the occurrence of flooding or any hazard, what will be what increased compared to what we have before. If you are into what data analysis or whatever, you just have to tell them that you are comparing data. You have to compare, and they will see it's there. You just have to see. Even United Nations do release data over time. You
Yeah.
tell them that okay, in the next 1, 2, 3 years, that okay, this is the data this is. You just quote. You have to quote because you have to be sure. Then speak specifically. Don't speak vaguely. You have to, as in write specifically, right? Rather, you don't. You have to tell them that okay, in so year, in year 2012, in year 2015. This is what the United Nations says about Nigeria. This is what the United Nations says about Uganda. This is what the United Nations says about what South Africa. But I am quite sure that if I have implemented this, I am sure that what this data will be what will have been reviewed and a better success story and told. So that is how to what tell them that how to hope about measuring.
Okay, let me just throw in one funny example. Currently, the census in Nigeria said that we are 200 million people in Nigeria. If you are studying something related to birth control, and there's a forecast that already say that maybe we'll get to 250 million in the next 10 years. Your result should be that forecasters say we'll get to 250 million in the next 10 years. But because of the birth control I intend to project to families, I hope that this will reduce it to 202 million, something like that. That's just how to measure it reflectively and how it could be measured reflectively. So I think we have touched all aspects of the development impact essay. Please, before we started this, I did not put a disclaimer out there. I think this is the right time to put a disclaimer out there. Whatever we are saying here is actually our experiences. It does not in any way reflect what the Commonwealth shared body actually wants. It is our experience. So whatever we say here, we only need to read, not the Commonwealth body. So we are just trying to give you a heads on how it worked for us so that it can also work for you. We believe that this will be helpful for you in your journey as well. So before we actually go to other parts of the essays, I would actually like for us to answer one or two questions before we move to the objective of the essay and the other part. Chidima, I understand that your time is fast running. Yeah, Chidima only has 1 hour with us, and we hope to actually cover a path before she actually goes off. And also, Gabriel was talking about girl child plenty. Please pardon him because he has a daughter and he wants the best for his daughter. He wants his daughter to become the president. That's why he's doing all of those. Okay, so the first question says, can I apply if I have not published any work? The Commonwealth body, before you even go to the essay, there's a point you have to state whether you have published any work or not. So, please.
I haven't published any work. Even as at now, I haven't published any work. So that's your answer. Yes, you can apply even if you have never published anything.
Okay. Gabriel, I hope you also is a yes to that, right?
Yeah, it's a yes to that. It's a yes to that. Absolute yes. However, if you have not published, but you are in the process of publishing, you can state that, okay, I have an unpublished work that I want to, publish in the next few months or so, thereabout. So it helps.
I think also in that place of putting a published work, you can put your undergraduate thesis and indicate unpublished. I think some
Yeah,
True,
people
that's
do
true.
that. Yeah.
true,
Some
Yeah.
true.
And just that they request for NOI number,
It-
ISCBN number publishing, but just
it's
put
not
the
a must. It's not a must. It's not a must.
it's
Actually,
not a
it's not a
must
must.
Yeah.
actually. The answer is no, you don't need to publish your
Alternatively,
work.
if you've also not published but you have any writing in the public space, you can also put a link to that.
Yeah.
Because while I haven't published any work, I do have a few writings for some newspapers. So I also put that. So it's fine if you haven't published. I also know someone who left that place blank and got funded. So
At that time I didn't publish any paper. Though I
awesome.
published a paper this
So
year, but at that time I didn't publish,
congrats.
but I got the
Yeah.
scholarship. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's not a must.
it's not a must. So then the next question said, I studied computer science and I am currently a front-end developer. The two possible eligible programs I can apply for is technology management or big data analytics, but I have no experience in any of the two courses. How do I convince them?
So it's okay if you don't necessarily have an experience in any of both courses,
Give up
because
this mute.
okay, I said it's okay if you don't have an experience in both courses, because you're not necessarily, it's not necessarily a proof of experience. Okay, it can be that you're going for a career change, but it's not even a career change, because the courses you're talking about are still related to what you studied.
Exactly.
And there's some understanding for people from developing countries who don't have significant job opportunities in the field that they studied. Okay, for instance, I studied microbiology in school. I've never worked with microbiology, and I'm currently doing an MPhil in public policy, two ends of a pole. Okay, so it's, if you don't have an experience in that field, it's fine. It's also possible that while you don't have a paid experience in that field, you may have some sort of volunteer experience in that field. Is also relevant. You can talk about it. So
Okay.
don't let your experience or your certification limit you. It's also possible that you don't even have any experience, and you don't even have any degree in that field. It's fine. People go to school for career change. Maybe you had some sort of real life experience that has shown you that this path is what Nigeria needs, and you're very passionate about it, even though you don't have any experience in that path. Is also fine.
Okay, good. I think I want to add one or two things to that question because it's very particular to me. I studied civil engineering in my undergraduate, and I'm currently studying big data and digital futures. Honestly, I have never worked in a civil engineering firm. Neither have I worked in a data firm before. So my experience are very varied. But I work in a consultancy firm, and we use data. And I also developed myself via online courses. So how I approached my essays was not out of experience, neither was it out of undergraduate degree. You are even lucky you had computer science. You can build from there, as a matter of fact, because the Commonwealth scholarship comes in two ways: your experience and your undergraduate degree. If you have one and you don't have the other, you can still win the scholarship. So that's actually how to approach that question. I don't know, Gabriel.
Uh,
What?
okay, I want to respond to that question, and I want to tell the person that asked that question that there is no course in the world. I stand to be corrected. There's no course in the world that makes you study just what you went to school to study. I stand to be corrected. If you are studying if you are studying in microbiology, if you study microbiology in your undergraduate days, I don't want to believe that everything you studied from your year 1 to your year 4 or year 5 or year 3, as the case may be, I don't know the kind of university, it depends on the country, that makes you study microbiology from year 1 up to year what? Year 4.
Aaron.
I don't think. One thing education does, or one thing education will do for you, is that over time, in the course of your program, it makes you study. Maybe you borrow the course, from one department or the other. If you can prove that the fact that I didn't study, what did the person say he studied again?
Computer science.
The fact that he didn't even study computer science, or the person said he studied computer science, right?
Yeah.
Because the fact that he didn't study anything that had to do with the big data analysis and the rest, but the fact that if he can prove, or just show that, okay, I really don't have any direct knowledge of this, however, I feel that this course that I did in 200 level or 300 level, this course that I have in the course of my program, gives me a background. What they need in master's level, what a background knowledge. You don't really have to be what. That is why it's called a master. You are going there now to become a master. Not you're not even going there because you're as a PhD or thereabout. No, you are going there to now become a master of that program. So just show them that what you have, just a background knowledge. I've seen people that have they did social sciences in undergraduate, and they are going to do maybe something business related in the master's program. That is why you could see that anybody can do an MBA. Anybody can do an MBA. Is it not a master in business administration? So just note for a fact that what no course will allow you to just study that particular thing. That is why people will always want request for your transcript. They just want to see, they just want to compare that, okay, what you have done, in your undergraduate level, there's an iota, there's a brief, a slight similarity between what you want to come and study and what you have done in time past.
All right, thank you very much. So, because of our time, we actually have to move into the next part of the essay. Then we'll come back to the question. I hope the person that asked that question has actually found his answer. All of us had various experience. Like I said, I work differently. I'm studying differently. Same with Chidima. This guy here work at Donate Bank and he's studying MSc Rigs. Do you understand? So it's all relative. So Chidima, please, this question is particularly for you, which is objectives during the award. What does that even mean? Am I supposed to know what is in the mind of my lecturer?
Shaking my head.
Please answer
So
that.
basically, you're going to study, yeah? Your award period is the year of study.
That's correct.
Okay. So what do you want to achieve during your award? Some people approach this differently. You could approach it by talking about what you intend to accomplish in UK in the school. Let me first speak to how I approached it. Okay. I had three paragraphs. In my first paragraph, I spoke about the general objective during the award, like holistically. This is what I want to accomplish during my award year. Okay. Um, then the second paragraph, I talked about the specific skills that I want to acquire during that year. Okay. And then what I want to use those skills for. That was my second paragraph. So the specific skills relates to like the course that I'm doing. What are the technical skills? Why do I need to acquire those skills? And how will it help me long term? Then in my third paragraph, I talked about my objectives for the school as a whole.
Mm,
Okay, so I talked about my objectives for the school in the sense of, okay, networking, maybe with joining the alumni association,
yeah.
tapping from the alumni network, being able to influence, just I talked about the objectives of being in the school as a whole. So from three perspectives, the first paragraph was my general objective, the second paragraph was more technical,
Okay.
okay, and then the third paragraph was holistically at the school. Some other people may take this question differently in terms of talking about, oh, you can also talk about the cultural diversity in UK and how you want to get a feel of the UK culture. Maybe I know someone who talked about how they want to explore historic sites in UK.
Very
There's
important.
no format, exactly. There's no format for how you should approach it. But those are the things that I focused on.
Thank you very much. Gabriel, just 1 minute to add to what Chidima said because this was our question. 1 minute.
I'm quite surprised because I was not expecting to answer anything with respect to this question. But just
Yeah.
to add to what Chidima said,
Yeah.
I would say that your objective should, in my own opinion, my own opinion is that you just want to gain what a theoretical and what a practical knowledge about what you are coming to study.
Mm,
A theoretical and what practical what knowledge. You just don't want to come and know about the course, but want to get what a practical knowledge about it, and you feel that you have to let them know that even though there are other places in the world that can do that for you, that you feel that the only place that you can get this knowledge is what is in the UK. It makes them, you make them sound as if truly this guy really want to come to study in the UK. So that's my own opinion.
yeah, thank you very much. Just like they both say, that objectives of the world, one thing that should reflect in your answer should be the multicultural community in the United Kingdom. Seriously, it must just appear there. Another thing I feel should be in that objective is um you have to learn about the cultures of the UK. It was when I answered that question that I learned about London Borough and how they help entrepreneurs And that was when I learned about SME phase in the United Kingdom and how I can be part of it. That was how I learned about conferences and other things, Black community. I heard about London Black Community Week entirely and all of those things. Those are things that are very tailored to the United Kingdom. Those are the objectives that you should actually look out for towards your award, during your award, because they don't expect you to just study. You're also expected to network as well. So it is very important. So I think we're almost getting to 1 hour, and Chidima has only 1 hour with us. So I want her to answer the next question, which was tailored towards the long-term career plan. Please, ma, can you actually take us through how do we approach this long-term career plan? I'm sorry that I'm skipping the short term, but we'll get to that in
No
detail.
problem. No problem. Um, so one thing I want to remind you of is the goal of this scholarship is for you to come back to your country of origin. Your long-term career plan must reflect that. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if it's maybe the at least well, your short-term career plan should reflect that. Even if in the longer term, you want to work more internationally, that's fine. But your career plan should reflect that you understand that the goal of the investment in you is for you to come back and develop your country, and it should be focused, on that. Is it okay if I take the short-term and the long-term career plan together?
Yes, please. Yes, no
Okay,
problem.
awesome. So for the short-term career plan, how I approached the question was I spoke about the specific office I want to work in when I come back to Nigeria. Okay. I spoke about what the office does a little bit because we just had 250 words for this. I spoke about what the office does and what my particular role will be, what I hope for my role to be. Okay. And then there's something very strategic that they are working towards right now that I think that in the next 1 year, when I'm done with my program, that it will be at a place where I can meaningfully contribute. I talked about that, what they were working towards. And then I mentioned that I only want to work with them for a 3-year period. That after 3 years, I want to go and do a PhD at an Ivy League school. Talked about what my PhD research topic would be. So that was how I approached that. I also want to mention it's very good if you already have an idea of where you want to work when you come back. Okay. It can be an international organization in your country. It can be a national organization. It can be an NGO. It can be a multinational company. It can also be that you want to start up your own thing. It's fine. But just your response should reflect that you understand that the investment is for in you, is aimed at you coming back to develop your country, and whatever your career plan is should be developmental focused. Okay, it should be a plan that would help develop whatever your country is. It will help if you have foresight to know the sort of places you want to work, how long you want to work there. After there, where next? At least for the short term, plan, I gave all of that and then talked about going to do a PhD after that. For the longer term career plan, I started it by giving an introduction into my life's vision. Okay, that's for the next question was long-term career plan. That was 250 words. I gave the first paragraph what I generally want to accomplish in my life, like what my legacy is supposed to be. And then in the second paragraph, I continued, I quickly summarized everything I said in the short-term career plan in a few lines. Then I continued from there because remember that the short-term career plan was just for 5 years. So I continued from post 5 years after my PhD. What will I do? Where do I hope to do it? How long am I going to do it? And then this thing that I'm doing, still, what is the impact that is making? Okay. Yeah. It's very essential that at every stage of your journey, you talk about the impact that you will be making. It's not just you're going to work here for this number of years to as this thing. What is the impact that you're making? Is there any specific project that you want to work on while there? Or is there any specific problem you're seeing there now that you want to address while working there? So I think that's just the way to look at it. If you can, you know, talk about, and then for the long term career plan, the goal of this investment is, I mean, I'm sure that Commonwealth would like to tomorrow know that they invested in the next president of Nigeria, or they invested in someone who owns this multinational company that's doing this, or they invested, they want to know that they made your big dream come true. Talk about your big dream in the long term career plan. Be sure that you share your big dream with them. Okay, share it in a way that they are able to buy into it and they want to be a part of it. I
Thank you
think that,
very much.
yeah.
All right. I think the long-term career plan is where I always feel is very expressive for me, because that is where I can dwell with words the more. Like, you're certain this is what it should be. In other words, the long-term career plan, she's saying if you want to be the president, please say it. If you want to be head of state, please say it. If you want to be the next prime minister, please state it. Like, express yourself. Say it. If you want to own the largest school, the school that is going to make more impact than Harvard, please say it. So, all right, Gabriel, please, over to you. You're part of the essay, the short term. Please start from the short term.
Okay, I will take the two together. It just, it's a short one. It's a short one. You guys have probably, said it all. I just want to advise that when you are writing an essay and one says short-term career plan and the other says long-term career plan, one mistake that people do is they end up giving at the beginning of the section I talked about disjointed essays.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing you should do is that your long-term career plan should be a continuation of your what? Short-term career plan. It is always necessary that what? It is a what? Continuation. You don't want a situation whereby a short-term career plan says A and the long-term career plan is saying Z. How do I mean? You are saying that, okay, when I come back, I want to go into lecturing and, everything. Although there are some career change, but personally, I feel that it should be synchronous. It should be, it should follow. So what I mean is that, let's say, for instance, my short-term career plan is that, okay, after coming back to my country, between now and the next 5 years, I hope to get a PhD in this area. My long-term career plan can be that, okay, I want to be what? I hope to have what? Made so many research in this particular area and become what? An authority in that field. Because of course, if I've gotten a PhD, I've partnered with multinational companies, I should be able to what? Make an impact in that area in the long term. And I used to say this, although it's not a must. I used to say this because an application that I just received, the essay that I helped the guy to read. I used to tell people, even though you don't want to have a PhD, please just say it. I stated it, but I don't think I want to have a PhD anyway. Yeah, master is okay for me. I'm telling you. But I just tell people that just state it that you hope to get a PhD. There's a reason for that. That is outside this training. But what I want to say in essence is what? Let it be synchronous. Don't give a disjointed statement. Don't give a disjointed essay. Everything I wanted to say have been said, and that is just it.
All right. Thank you very much. Just to add to what Gabriel said, I didn't say that I want to get a PhD in my essay. I didn't even mention it. That was because I had other plans going on. I founded a company, and my plan was actually to build the company to a multinational level. Do you understand? It is actually progressive. Your everything that my colleagues here have said is your short-term plan down to your long-term plan has to be progressive. That's just everything putting together. And another important thing I have to state here is that putting timeline when you're answering this question. They're stating in the question in the next 5 years. So from your year one, when you return to the country, and to the fifth year, put it in timeline what you intend to achieve. So when you transit to the long-term career plan from 6 years down to 12 years, that's long-term career plan. Put it in the timeline that this is what you hope to achieve. The timeline is very important. that you put it there. So, okay.
So sorry, I want to take two questions in the comments that I saw, and then I'll leave.
Thank you.
So someone asked a question about that they are applying at Durham if they need to pay application fee. Gabriel, can you mute, please? Thank you. Someone asked the question if there's a way they cannot pay application fee. A lot of UK schools have a process where you can reach out to the postgraduate office, okay, to ask for a fee waiver. Depending on your peculiar situation, there are significant chances of getting a fee waiver if you're from a developing country. Okay, this does not affect your prospects of getting admission. So you want to check your school's postgraduate office if they have any fee waiver options. Whatever school you're applying to, there's a good chance that they have that because it's some sort of they just don't want people not to have opportunities to apply because of financial constraints. So you can check if your school, the school you're applying to, offers that. Someone else also asked that he's a lecturer. How can he assess the outcome of the impact of his work on his students? Um, for lecturers, for people in lecturing, there are several ways you can approach this. If you're going to go and learn something that is going to help you, learn better teaching methodologies, it can be, for instance, that students from your school, maybe typically from your school, 10% of them make a first class or a 2-1 or whatever degree, and you think that the method of teaching accounts a bit for the deficiency in performance. It can be that you expect 25 percent increase in the number of students who make a first class when you apply the new teaching methodologies. It can also be that in your school that maybe students don't have very limited IT knowledge and skills, so that by the time that they are graduating, they are not ready for the job market, maybe because they are not IT savvy or something. Maybe by the time you initiate some of the methodologies that you've learned, a good percentage of them will be more IT. So depending on the specific thing that you're going to study, I think the way to answer this question depends on your course. What is the course that you're going to study? Whatever the course you're going to study is, you can now talk about the measurements based on your students, and then make sure that you benchmark it to what is currently happening in your school or with the students that you teach. What is the skill you're going to acquire? What do you hope to do with it? And how do you hope for the students to improve or for subsequent students to improve based on that? So how you measure it is what's happening now versus what it will be happening when you're done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just to add to the person that asked the fee waiver, the application fee waiver, yes, like Chidima said, every school in the UK has a room for application waiver. Just that you have to, sometimes in some school, like my school, you have to ask early before all the waivers that they had will not be taken by people. That I know, but the others I have a particular number of people they can give waivers to, and they have a particular number they don't give waivers to. So please ask in time so that you can actually get a waiver to apply.
Oh, okay. For let me address the question still on that fee waiver. That's from Crescent. Durham University. You can go to what you do. Go to your application portal. Where that place that asks you to upload a proof of payment, put in your application. That's your Commonwealth Commonwealth application documents. Print it out as a PDF. Upload it in your application portal. Then you now write it and just write and tell them that you're an applicant of Commonwealth shared scholarship. They will leave you. Though they will keep sending you emails, but I can say authoritatively that it doesn't matter. Just keep telling them that you are awaiting a decision from Commonwealth shared scholarships. It happened to me, and you understand. See, even after getting the scholarship, they kept sending me emails. So it doesn't really matter that they ask you to pay and the deadline. Just leave it like that, but just send a proof that you have applied for a scholarship, and that settles it. Secondly, it's a two-in-one question. Christy asks, which universities are easy to get admission? No university is easy to get admission. However, competition is stiffer in some Ivy League schools than others. That is all I have to say. No admission is what? Easy. You just have to prove yourself that you can actually get this thing. But competition is stiffer in Ivy League school than others.
All right. Thank you very much. Chidima,
So
thank you very much. If you still want to stay with us, please, you
no,
may.
I have to actually run, but I just saw that there was one question directed at me.
Okay.
If Cambridge had interviews, so Cambridge did not have interviews for my course. It depends on. It really depends. If you like, I applied to both Oxford and Cambridge. Oxford had interviews. Cambridge had for some courses, but for Commonwealth shared scholarship, they did not have. What I'll just advise anybody applying for Commonwealth shared scholarship in Cambridge is, after you submit your application, reach out to the Cambridge Trust, okay, and share your application number with them after you submit your application. That is, if you're applying to Cambridge for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, just so that they have it on their radar. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. We truly appreciate.
Thank
Before you,
you.
please, can you give a word of encouragement to prospective scholar? What can you tell them in this process? Because it can be very strenuous, like all of us know. Please, word of
Yeah.
encouragement to them.
I think what I would just say is, first, you have to be ready to put in the work. Okay, when I was applying for this scholarship, I was applying to 3 schools. I had just given birth, and I was still working full time. So I had a new baby plus full-time work plus applications. It was crazy. And then the more, sorry, Gabriel, can you mute, please? The more places you apply to, the higher your odds. Okay. I applied to 11 scholarships. 11 scholarships. I got 9 rejections, and then the other ones eventually came through. But the rejections came first. So I kept getting rejection after rejection after rejection. Okay. I kept believing that it was going to happen for me this year. I got into both Oxford and Cambridge. I eventually went to Cambridge because I did not get a full funding for Oxford. But you cannot just apply to 2 or 3 scholarships and then at the end of the day you say, oh, I've been doing this, and it's not working. There are people who apply to 50 scholarships. It's a game of numbers. The more you apply to, the better your odds. So I'll just say, put in the work, try to be original, and then I hope that it happens for you this year. Most importantly, reach out to other people who have gone through it. If you can send your essays to some people to help you review, that's awesome. And finally, don't wait till the last minute. There are so many instances where, by the day before, the site is hanging, or maybe one form of technical issue or another. Don't wait till the last minute. Submit when you can, and then just hope for the best. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much, ma. We truly appreciate. Thank you. Your tenacity and grit. 11 scholarship. Oh my God. I only applied to 2 scholarship this year and I got it. Oh my
Thank
God.
you, Chidima.
Well done. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. So, okay. Gabriel,
Should we
somebody asked a question
should we
about
continue with this? Should we continue with the question, or do we finish with the whole program then visit all the questions at once? What do you think?
actually this webinar is supposed to be 1 hour 30 minutes, so we only have 12 minutes. However, the next question was even about the points that you're actually about to talk about, so we'll answer it together with the question. So the question says, study outline and proposal should contain a exposition on our course of study or proposed research. So please talk about the proposed study outline. How do they approach the question? I think the question is very, very, very
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Let me say this. I always want to tell people to work smart than work hard. It's better to work smart than what? To work hard. Study outline. If you want to approach this, because let me get the right question from my essays. I think I'm still with you.
Okay.
Still with you. Detail. It's called detailed plan of study. Detailed plan of study. What I would advise people to do, don't start cracking your head. Don't start cracking your head. Detailed plan of study. What you want to study in that university, be it Cambridge, be it Durham, be it Warwick, be it Oxford and the likes. What you want to study, in the UK, that university have what they have, what a draft of what that course is all about. Go there. What I did, go there, copy all those, what they have. They call it. It's even called the what program outline thereabout. Go
Yeah,
there,
course
copy
outline.
it. Yeah, program outline. Copy it, put it on a Word format, and edit it. Then when you edit it, look for a way how it relates with a United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, and that is just fine. You don't need to start thinking, because this is a course you don't really know per se. You are just seeing it and you like it because you feel that, okay, I want to have a career in this. So if you want to speak out of your own head, it's kind of tricky, so that you don't go off point. Go there, just copy it, link it with what it relates to, what a sustainable development goal, and you will be fine.
Okay. Uh, Gabriel, thank you very much. There was a way I approached that question. If I am correct, it is the question that says that talk about proposed study in the UK, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. In as much what Gabriel actually said is true. They don't expect you to be. In fact, they even stated there already that you shouldn't be overly technical with whatever you are writing there. But it is very important that you make it very explicit. To actually answer that question, you really need to bring in your research skills in there. You have to research thoroughly on actually how to approach that question. If I actually want to pick this course, what is going to be my study plan? What is going to be my projected dissertation? I think I mentioned it that this is what I think to do because I studied the course requirement, the course outline, the modules I'm going to be taught. So that way, with the development impact insights that I am reading, it was very easy for me to coin out a topic that every other thing will be addressed, and I proposed a solution that I think would be fair if I put this out there. But all of them were in relation to a bigger body, like Gabriel just quoted, United Nations, quote SDG, quote something. It was actually in relations to that. So you can't just answer that question without researching effectively on what you actually want to say because like the question say propose study outline. You just have to put it out there. So
Let,
Gabriel, thank you very much.
let
Yeah.
me let me say this. I think I forgot to say it when I was giving my speech. Let me say that when I said link it to a sustainable development goal, it's not any sustainable development goal. It is the one you have been talking about in all your essays, so that you don't end up going to link it with a sustainable development goal different from what you've been talking all this while, different from all the essays you've written, because it now gives you what it's more like they are competing. Your the proposed plan of study is now competing with your previous essays that it talks about what development impact. So be careful. Everything you are going to do, stick with a particular plan. Stick with a particular plan, because those goals is in line with what the themes of CSE.
All right. So the next question said, I studied geography and environmental management, and I studied geography and environmental management, and I have just 2 years of work experience in a non-governmental organization that deals with all things map production, environmental monitoring, and image classification. Please, is this experience enough to go for an MSc Geographic Information System?
Actually, I studied geography and regional planning, so and I can tell you for a truth or for a fact that you are good to go.
Very,
Um,
very good.
you are good to go, because you work with an NGO that deals with map production, environmental monitoring. I work in a bank. I worked in a bank. In fact, my role in a bank is, it doesn't relate actually to what what I've done. But I was technical. I was, very, very technical. I told them that what I'm doing in the bank have to do with risk, and I'm going for what MSc risk, environmental risk. So you just have to be technical, play with words, but you are good to go. But if you have a passion for maps and everything, I will tell you that you should try. I think University of Leeds, they have very good course that have to do with GIS and everything. So
I
just
think
check their
University of Glasgow also have a very good course that has to do with GIS and all of those
GIS and
things.
everything. So Leeds, I can advise you to look into that school, and
I think
that's
Chris,
fine.
please reach out to Gabriel to review your essays for you. It's in line with
No,
what you
as
it's in line with what you're currently studying. Okay. The
much
next
as
question say,
as
please,
much
can I
as
send my
I want to help, but I want you to do the major work. Don't just reach out to us and say, please let me look into it. As much as we would love to help, please do the major work so we make our
work
review
easier, the
easy,
review
because
easier?
the program here is choking. All right.
Yes, it's really choking. Stop laughing like crying.
It's choking.
Yes, yes. Okay. So somebody say, please, can I send my essays for any of you to review when I'm done with them? It
We-
depends on the time you reach out. Honestly, like Gabriel just said, if you reach out early, we can book a time slot for you. If you don't reach out early, if our time is booked, we cannot help. So it depends on when you reach out and how ready you are to actually taking the critical review. Okay, I think this next question was answered. If I am a lecturer, how can that question was answered. The next question is it okay to use similar and same essay for courses that are related?
I didn't get the question. I didn't get you.
Is it okay to use similar and same essays for courses that are related?
Well. You have to be careful. You have to be careful in the sense that every course has some technicalities. They call it jargon. Every course have its own jargon, its own words. So you have to be careful. Well, let's say how do I call it? Computer science, and one is saying data analytics. You have to be careful. One is computer science, one is data analytics. As much as I would say that, okay, use the same essay, I will still advise you to tweak it a little, so that it doesn't sound as if you don't really know what you're talking about. If it's the same course, it makes your job easy. You just have to tweak it a little. That's my own advice. You have to be careful.
Okay, my view from that is not very different. It's going to be a bit similar, but you cannot use the same essay for different courses, no matter how closely related that course is. So it's going to be similar, but it cannot be the same. That's a simple answer to that question. Okay, so the last question was, hello Chidima, did the University of require, did Durham require interview for you? No, because I know University of Dundee require interview, and some other universities like that require interview as well. I think for some universities they require interview for some certain courses, and they don't require interviews for some certain courses. But overall, in the Commonwealth scholarship, a university is not required to actually interview its candidates. It is very rare before university does that and all of that. So this is actually the end of our webinar. And Gabriel, please, before we actually go, we want to say thank you very much for making our time to be here. Before we leave, please can you give final words of encouragement to the scholars.
Okay, let me say that applying for a scholarship is for the strong. You have to be mentally strong up there. Sometimes you feel that, okay, I've written the best essays, and you discover that you get a rejection mail. It can be traumatizing. Gabriel Osele Ebinum is a Commonwealth Share Scholar, 2022 Commonwealth Share Scholar, but Gabriel Osele Ebinum have been on this journey since 2018.
What? I'm sorry, I didn't know
2018.
that.
So it is not as if maybe Gabriel Osele Ebinum was a dunce or wasn't that good, but I just feel everybody have his own time.
That's correct.
Yeah, you have to be. You just have to be patient. So whenever you get a rejection mail, you should tell you that I've been rejected, but I cannot be rejected in the next one. Even though you get rejected in the next one, you still tell yourself, I've been rejected again, but I cannot be rejected in the next one. That is how you have to go. I applied for it 2018. applied for it 2019, applied for it 2020, applied for 2020, and I finally got it in 2021 through 2022. One thing you should know is in what we say in Nigeria, now who give up, nine fuck up. Don't ever give up. Keep pushing. Now who give up, nine fuck up. So don't ever give up. However, when it comes to scholarship, you should actually meet up every admission requirement. It is very, very demoralizing when you get a scholarship. At the end of the day, you didn't get an unconditional offer. Because if you don't get an unconditional offer, that scholarship that you are celebrating you've gotten, it amounts to zero. I don't want to mention names, but I have two friends that got Commonwealth shared scholarship but couldn't meet what admission requirements. And one of the admission requirements you have to meet is what English requirement. I will advise you, if you know you're going to apply for Commonwealth shared scholarship and you know that your university, Durham University, will never admit you if you don't meet. I think Warwick Self does the same. They will never admit you if you don't have a proof of English proficiency.
Yeah.
So what you should do is make sure that you have met your English proficiency. Do it now. I'll tell you, do it now. Don't wait until university emails you that we are waiting for your English exam. The reason be that you have examination phobia, because now you are not test that, oh, this is the only thing that is holding me now. So people fail exam not because they are not good, but because sometimes they have been tensed. I'm not one person that wrote an English exam for like 2 or 3 times and she didn't pass it. It doesn't mean that she's not good enough. Probably she's just tensed. So settle everything that have to do with admission requirements, and that will be good. I think I've talked about English proficiency. I've talked about mental stuff, and also be original. Please be original. Don't do copy and paste, because everything that you are doing, I'm quite sure everything essay you are doing, I'm quite sure that they run their essays through plagiarism checker. So just be original. Your little wins. It doesn't matter that, okay, I've worked in somewhere, I've been made the managing director of certain place. No, what they are checking is just what your little wins. What have you been doing? What have you achieved in the place that you have been, in the place you've worked, in the place you've stayed? What have you achieved? What do people know you for in that place? Are you getting me now? So that's little wins is what matters. It doesn't matter that it doesn't mean that you must get one large achievement. No, your little wins matters a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I want to add one thing. See, winning a scholarship is life changing. If you feel you are living a life, wait until you win a scholarship. Like, it will completely change your life. It will change the way you see things. It will change your approach. It will change so many things. And then they how do I put it? The awards, the access to people, the global organization. Right now, look at the access we have to commissioner to the UK embassy in Nigeria. It's just like this. If you're in Nigeria, we don't have access. It's not possible. You might want to look at being self-funded. It can never be equivalent to winning a Commonwealth scholarship. The prestigious that comes to the name, the lifetime access to things and communities that you have cannot be equivalent to being self-funded. So the joy of just being a scholar, somebody sponsoring you to school in a very prestigious university is nothing but something very, very worth the while. So please, regardless of how tough this journey would be, put in all the work, put in all the energy, be resilient, build up tenacity, and seriously, we hope to congratulate you when the time comes. I think we have a question.
Finally, let me say something. You have to be sure. Also, be sure that the course you are applying for is eligible for Commonwealth funding. It is not all courses that are eligible for Commonwealth funding. please be sure, so that you don't end up thinking that, okay, I've applied for this admission. At the end of the day, you could not, you might just end up, applying for scholarship. At the end of the day, you don't get anything. Be sure, go to the school when you want to apply for a course. When you have selected the school you want to apply into, we have seen the course. Go to the funding. Every course will tell you whether they have funding or not. When you go to the funding, go to international funding, because Commerce scholarship is under international funding. So when you go to the international funding section, it will tell you whether this course is eligible for what Commonwealth shared scholarships. It will tell you. So be sure, please.
All right. I think that's even the question you just answered. How important is so? Can I apply for any course or just the course on the university course?
I saw it. I saw it before I answered.
I made a post on my LinkedIn, the difference between Commonwealth Masters and Commonwealth Shared. That post answered this, and I'm going to make a video regarding this very soon. So you should check my YouTube channel in the coming week to actually how the difference between Commonwealth Masters and Commonwealth Shared. Because even though they are both Commonwealth scholarship, the methods to approach them is not the same way. So if you don't really understand the difference between those two scholarship, look out for that video, because it's going to be very detailed on actually how to approach the Commonwealth Shade scholarship that is different from the Commonwealth Masters scholarship. Okay, that being said, I think we have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you everybody for joining. This video will be uploaded on my YouTube channel, so that in case you want to refer back to it, you would have the opportunity and the chance to actually refer back to it. Thank you very much for joining, and have a truly great evening. Gabriel, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. God
My
bless you.
pleasure. My
Thank you.
pleasure. Yeah.